Hi, you're very welcome. You're here with Anne Walsh, the Excel expert, and today we're going to look specifically at printing in Excel. Now at the moment we're in this version of Excel which is 2010, but what I'm saying also equally applies to 2007. So the first thing we're just going to do is we'll go up here to the tab, see where File, Home, Insert, just go to Page Layout tab here. Right. Now if we look in the middle here, these are the ones we're specifically interested in. Okay. So here's where we can set our margins. Alright, and unless you have some reason to do otherwise, generally leave them as the normal ones. Your orientation is where you can change it from portrait to landscape. Your size is where you can change it from letter to legal A4, and again, unless you've got some reason to do otherwise, do so. Print area, we're going to look at that in another tutorial, but essentially what that allows you to do is to just highlight a very specific area of the spreadsheet and just print that. This is where we can insert our page breaks. But what we're going to look at specifically is that we're actually going to just, if you look down here at the bottom right hand corner of the page layout, there's a little notch there. So what we're actually going to do is I'm actually just going to click on this. Alright, and when we look at it, this brings up this dialog box. Now if you have used 2003, this will automatically look familiar to you. Okay, so if we look here at the page, this is where we can change the orientation from portrait to landscape. This one here is particularly useful because it allows us to actually fit down the page onto a certain number of pages. So for example, if I just have 100% here and I just have a quick look at it in print preview, okay, you see there actually I'm missing it and I actually already have 47 pages down here. Right, whereas I might actually want fewer pages. Let me just go back up here then to home. Back to my page layout, down here to the notch. But I can also set this up that I just want to actually be on one page wide, or for example, let's say 5 pages tall. So let's just put 5 here. Let's just have a quick look at print preview. Right. Now, if you notice here, this requires the services of a microscope to actually see it, but it'll give you an idea of the way you can actually kind of squeeze down the text if you need to. Right, and sometimes you just need to do a little bit of experimentation to get it the exact size that you want. If you notice up here as well, in the middle of this tab, the page layout tab, you can also specify your scaling features up here. So for example, I can say to get it to a certain number of pages, also a number of pages here. So that's just another way to do it. But let me just come back in here to my little page setup. Paper size and print quality has got to do with whatever printer you're using. I go to my margins. Alright, here we have my top, left, right, bottom. Right. Now header and footer margins have got to do with the amount of space left between, let's say, the top margin and the edge of the page. So into the header section is where we will put in little headings we want to appear at the top of every page. Footer is what will appear at the bottom of every page. This one here is quite useful because it allows you to center on the page both horizontally and vertically. Right, another very useful one. Then we have our header and footer here. Now we go to header and footer. Header and footer are pretty much reflections of each other. So for example, if I click here, see there it says page 1 of 1. I can just say printing example. Right, and again, if I just have a quick look at print preview, you can actually just see it up here at the very top. You can probably barely see it, but it's just barely visible there. Tab again. Alright, and also maybe just fit it to, might make it a little bit bigger, maybe 80% footer. Alright, so I can choose it from here. Now equally I can go in here to my custom header. Alright, and again you have your left section, center section, right section, so whatever goes into the left section will appear on the left, whatever goes in the center will appear in the center, and so on. Alright, so for example, if I just put in let's say printing tutorial here, over here, I can use this one here to change the alignment if I want to. See there, font size. Right. This one here tells me inserts the page number. So what you'd normally do is go page number of, I see the third one here is the total number of pages, which gives me the total number of pages. So for example, if I have a 5-page document, this will read page 1 of 5 on page 1, page 2 of 5 on page 3, page 3 of 5, and so on. Right. This one here just gives you the current date. Okay. Now just remember the date will update every time you open the spreadsheet. So if the actual date which was created was important, I would actually suggest that you type in the date instead. Alright, because remember that's a kind of a current date if you like. Also the time. Alright, and again this is linked to the actual time on the computer at the time of printing. So if the actual time it was done at is important, I suggest in that case you actually manually type it in. Here is where you can put in a thing called your file path, right, which is very useful if you have lots of files and you want to remember where you actually store them. This will show you, the drive, C:/my documents and so on, which can be very, very useful. Delete that again. Here, again, tells you inserts the file name. Alright, this one here will insert the tab name. By tab name, it's meant down here. For example, the tab name that will be here will be printing example, whatever name's on the sheet here. And the last one we have here then is a picture. So for example, if you need to insert a logo or anything else, alright, you see I have some pictures up here which I can insert. I'm not going to insert them at the moment, but if you had a logo you can insert it here and then use the one beside it to resize it. And I click OK. Right. Now exactly the same procedure applies if you're using a custom footer. The only difference is that the information appears at the bottom of the screen. And the last tab we're just going to look at here is just the sheet. And again we're going to look at print area in another one. Rows to repeat at top. It means, for example, if I look at this spreadsheet, you see I have headings here: invoice date, customer, product, county, classification. If I click here, that means that will automatically appear at the top of every sheet that I print. Columns to repeat at left. And here we have our columns at left, and these are the columns if you want to actually repeat them at the left of every column, which I'm going to select here. Okay. Now here is where we can print grid lines on our spreadsheet, black and white if we want to print to a colour printer but don't want to print colour. Draft quality uses less ink, and row and column headings means that on the actual printout it'll give you A, B, C, D, E, and here it'll give you 1, 2, 3. Right. And this is also the place that if you want to print your comments you can as well. It gives you options here on it. Okay. So again, this is just your introduction to printing. As always, there will be a file at the end of this where you can practice on it, and certainly enjoy it, and I hope you go well. Take care. Bye.